You gonna put out links, or do you want me to help you put out links?
If you could help put out links, I'd appreciate
Sure,
it.
sure.
Just making a post on my YouTube here.
You still want me to Audacity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Hopefully that's not gonna mess things up. Made a mistake there.
Oh yeah, imagine if the stream thing was just bugged out now.
I think it's fine.
Looks fine.
Let me see here. Hey, let's go with screenshots. I just need to image for this.
If you wanted to, you could give me permissions to post in your streams announcements to do the super live links, or you could do that yourself and I'll do the rest.
Yeah, I could do that. Just I'll give you permissions later.
Yeah, and I'll only post the super live ones in there.
Okay. I'm gonna start it off. Oh, take a look at this screen, by the way.
Oh. Is that who they think is going to win?
I imagine so.
I would say that's fairly accurate with Soulkey playing the way he is right now.
Yeah. Kind of an all-star lineup for Zerg.
Yeah.
That's like the top 3 Zergs.
Pretty much.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not the top 3 players for the other 2 races, so.
Alright. Let's make sure it streams up. Okay, we're good. Alright. You ready to start?
Yeah, I'll put out the links as soon as you're live.
I am live. Alright, we are ready to go. Arshan, hit the Audacity button.
You got it.
그렇다는 반증도 되는 거고요. 그렇죠. 그래서 어쨌든간 지금까지의 제가 이제 앞으로도 계속해서 제가 라인업을 공지하면서 이 승리팀 예측 투표를 한번 해볼까 해요. 이게 또 깨알같이 재미가 최다 득표를 기록한 저그 팀의 개막전 정말 많은 분들이 예측. 저도 저그 찍었어요. 임진묵 해설님 누구 찍으시겠어요? 저그. 네. 그게 정상입니다. 자, 그럼 확인해 보겠습니다. 1경기부터 풀어나가 보도록 하죠. 조기석, 조일장, 폴스타로 먼저 가보시겠습니다.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the KCM. Brand new season. Starting off on week 1. We've got Hero versus Sharp. Oof. A great matchup to kick things off, and a great lineup here today for the Zerg. Take a look at this, everybody. JYJ Speed Sharp, Mini YSE Stork, Queen, Hero, Sulky. One of these is not like the other, Shun.
Yeah, definitely. This is a very strong lineup for the Zerg. All three of the best players on the planet right now lined up. Although it is really a good treat to see the likes of Speed, Sharp, and Stork once again showing us some games.
Yeah, it seems a bit stacked, and the audience thinks the same way. We're just looking at the stats beforehand. I think I think it's audience members that were polled, but 80% of people thought that we were going to have a Zerg victory here. 7% thought it was going to be a Terran victory. So not a lot of faith in Sharp and Speed, JYJ either, although he is such a just a genuine badass when it comes to Zerg versus Terran.
Yeah, I just don't think these teams have quite enough finesse to deal with this Zerg squad. I mean, Sulky on his own is going to be pushing that win percentage all the way to the moon on his own, let alone Hero and Queen being, beside him. They're absolutely exceptional players as well. And I'm kind of glad that we're getting a different Zerg from Sulky right out of the gate. Like to see some games out of Hero and Queen before he finally takes his place on the podium yet again. We see him so often just absolutely dominant, although there has been quite a few upsets in recent weeks in KCM. It's not like Sulky's unstoppable here. Anything can happen in that sort of best of one format, and these players can still get the better of them.
Oh, for sure. I wonder what's changed, though. I mean, we haven't done KCM for a full 2 weeks, 2 weeks break since the finals of the last season. I'm not sure if we're going to get a full 5 seasons this year once again, but if we're taking breaks like that, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see that we get... I imagine it's not going to be the case that we get like the full 5 seasons every year. It's going to be like 1 year we get 5, the next year we get 4, then 5 again, depending on how they rotate the schedule a little bit. So I only think it's going to be that 4 seasons this year, but who knows, maybe next year we'll get another 5.
That is possible. By the way, guys, the ASL jacket prize is live. They're doing a raffle over on Soup, and so that's the reason why we're live here. The first time ever doing a live cast of KCM, for me anyway. We've had quite a few times. We've had it live on Shun's channel for quite some time, but it's going to be live here on Soup, so you guys have more opportunities to enter that raffle. 50 gems or 1 gifted sub is 1 entry, and you can do as many entries as you want. We've just got the first Marine poking in here. We're not sure if we're actually going to get the Soup Duel series back. And so I'm assuming it's going to continue, but we're just not sure how long it's going to be until that comes back. And so wanted to get some more content out here for you guys, give you guys more opportunities to join that awesome prize. Get your hands on one of those jackets.
Yeah, Hero's doing a great job of keeping this SEV scout out, but you're right saying it's kind of special that these guys even have a chance to get one of those jackets in the first place. They're kind of coveted in the scene right now. Everybody wants to get their hands on them, and rightfully so. They look so badass. Kind of envious of you guys that I can't take part in that raffle and get hold of one, so please take advantage of that if you can and try and snag one of those, because you're not going to get any other opportunities. And I mean, I can't even imagine what the scalp price is on those things, trying to sell them on eBay or something. They must be like, they'd be going for like, I don't know, between like $500,000 plus potentially with how few there are available to the market.
Yeah, and to let you guys know, a sub, gifted sub, or 50 gems is about $5. So it's not a crazy amount to kick in to help out, and give a donation here to the stream, help us keep doing what we're doing, and at the same time, you get a great opportunity to have an awesome prize. So without further ado, we won't talk about that anymore here, Shun. We've got Sharp bringing all his Marines back into this wall. He's playing it safe now after pushing away one early drone. Not really getting a huge amount of damage, but Hero did lose one Ling.
Yeah.
A little bit of a mistake there from him. It's going to be a bit harder for him to slow this down now and force some threat of a counterattack here, but he's still going to try it. He's going to force a couple of units back, but you can see Sharp is intent on going across the map and putting on that pressure.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's trying to move out just a few seconds before this medic's popping out to try and force a reaction out of Hero. Does manage to snag one of those Marine kills. He's got some Marines broken off to head to the natural expansion of Hero to try and force a reaction back at home before retreating yet again. One Sunken was able to be forced out of Hero, but that's not that big of a commitment. Wants to primarily rely on these speedlings for his defense. Forcing him to make any Sunkens, though, is a little bit of a win for Sharp, so he's not going to be falling too behind the curve of this game. Although opening with that 2 racks, you do, generally speaking, need to find some kind of compensation for that early investment.
Yeah, the big benefit of forcing out those early sunken colonies is that you're not able to make as many mutas, and it looks like Hero's made a bit of a mistake with his rally here. He's going to be a little bit slower, and as you can see, Sharp already has most of his turrets done, and so the job is actually either way that this has gone, it's actually turning out to be okay here for Sharp.
Yeah.
Even though he only forced one Sunken, this is a bit slow, and there's only 4 mutas in this pack. This is not going to do a lot of damage here. He can poke at the barracks, but of course he can lift that, move it over just slightly, and still be pretty safe here. Bouncing those glaives. It's going to take a long time to kill that building with just 4 mutas.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this optimized defense from Sharp, making this bunker in the natural expansion to prevent any Ling run-by issues, so we can keep the majority of his forces in the main base to protect the production and main base area, which have slightly less saturation of turrets to defend them. A really persistent micro from Hero, killing that supply depot with only a few mutas. Really impressive stuff. Just goes to show what tenacity can do for you, slowly but surely. Now Sharp should be able to have a much higher chance of keeping the second depot alive, but that's a small win for Hero. It did technically supply block Sharp for just a moment there. As a small compensation for him not being able to get inside that main base and doing any economic damage for the time being. We'll now have enough mutas to come into this natural expansion and try to shave off some of these SCVs if he wants to. He's going up to a full count of 12 plus mutas here. So he wants to keep trading off this Bioforce as much as possible while cycling out the low HP mutas or replacing the ones that die.
Sharp needs to take this seriously. He's only on 3 racks. Has a factory on the way already. But if this starts to really get shaved down, he might get trapped in his base, and Hero just able to drone as heavily as he wants behind this. He is a monster in that late game, so you don't want to take the pressure off too much, and losing that early Bioforce would really diminish that pressure. Coming in and hitting this turret just 2 times and kind of missing that 3rd shot means with that clutch repair, Sharp going to keep that alive, and he's actually looking pretty good now with the damage on those mutas. Can start to push out a little further here, a little bit more aggressively, but still cannot be losing this whole Bioforce. Here we go. Hero going to dive on top of that. Not taking the best trade here, but this is so many mutas, man. He's just going to dive right on top.
Rightfully so, saying he's going to clean up that bio ball. There are some good trades here for Sharp. He did kill some of these mutalisks, but not nearly enough. Hero's going to be in a commanding position. Killing the medics on the retreat as well is a big deal. It's just going to be so difficult for Sharp to get the bio count necessary to keep these mutas at bay now. He's gone for a very middle-of-the-road build to get his tech online earlier, so now he hasn't got enough forces to kick these mutas out of his base, and he's just going to be scrambling, trying to set up turrets, but Hero's on top of the production line already. Now this could even just be game over for Sharp. He can't re-secure his production line, making some turrets at the bottom of his command center to try and start leapfrogging turrets back towards those barracks, but he's unsuccessful in doing so for the time being. Hero kind of reigning supreme in this game thus far.
Yeah, and behind this, of course, Hero can just... Oh, did get a couple drones there. I was about to say, Hero can just produce insane amounts of economy behind this, while Sharp is just kind of stuck here, not able to get his tech online and not able to really produce Marines as the mutas just keep diving in over and over again and killing everything that pops out there. No pressure coming Hero's direction. Even adding on a few more mutas here just to go back up to that 11 count to really keep this threat alive. Hero has so much leeway in this game. Sharp is limping and he's going to have a very hard time crossing this finish line.
I mean, I kind of feel bad for Sharp. Hero's probably a little bit salty about not having the best run possible in ASL, and now has time to take his anger and frustrations out on Sharp, and Sharp doesn't look like he's enjoying this very much. He's struggling just to get his tech online. Can't even build this science facility. He might even be able to get a kill on that science facility if he keeps baiting the SUVs over there and also getting good trades off of this bio. He's so desperate to getting that online. He's just barely kicking these mutas out of his base, and now there's going to be a lurker contain set up at the front door. He actually could probably bust this bunker down and just kill Sharp, but he's being a little bit more tentative and trying to secure the game state by making a critical mass of Zerglings to run in with these lurkers first to make sure he doesn't kind of pull the trigger too early here. He has got Defiler Mound on the way, but with this contain of 6 lurkers, it's kind of insane, and picks off the siege tank, saying preventing any kind of bust out potential. We're going to see such a clinical checkmate move here from Hero.
Yeah, he's diving in now with those lurkers. Of course, the Marines just get absolutely splattered. Now running forward here towards this ramp. There's one tank and a dream for Sharp, but it's not going to be enough. This is so much damage, and GG is called. Ooh, that was one of the most brutal beatdowns I've seen in KCM, dude. This is tough to see Sharp go down like that, but hey, Hero played a beautiful game, and Sharp just didn't quite respect that mutalist count that was being made.
No, I mean, it was kind of brutal, to be honest with you. I don't think we've ever seen like such a clinical finish from a Zerg versus Terran game in quite some time. I do really feel bad for this Terran squad because they're going to be facing off against some disappointed Zergs from the ASL that really want to show their caliber. They are the 2nd and 3rd best Zergs in the world right now, and they are more than capable of stomping out these guys today.
보통은 이제 테란이 최적화를 완벽하게 했을 때 8분 20초에서 25초 사이에 공업이 되는데 그 사이를 노린 거예요. 딱 노골적으로. 예, 근데 그 타이밍에 완벽하게 이제 한쪽만 업그레이드가 되다 보니 정면에서 확실히 차이가 났고
We'll go into game number 2.
조일장 선수가 또 3승 분들의 격려와 성원이 있으시길 바랍니다. 자, 오늘 두 번째 경기는 1경기는 10여 분 만에 끝났습니다. 조일장 선수의 어떻게 보면은
Here we go, game number 2. Looks like Hero versus YSC on Eclipse. Got YSC over here top right, Hero bottom left. I hope we're not going to see brutal beatdown throughout all of these games. And it seems like the fans are thinking it's going to be this way, and so far they've been vindicated.
I mean, I don't think they're very wrong, and yeah, basically call back to what I just recently said, that these Zergs are a little bit salty that they didn't quite have the performance necessary in the ASL to satiate them. So they're very hungry, saying, and they're going to want to be feeding on these players that they're up against today. Who knows? You might not even see Hero being able to be taken down by anyone tonight. He might just go on a rampage and get a double all kill. It's certainly possible.
The top 3 Zerg players in the world right now, kind of undisputed, except for Soma, who's going to be coming back from the military soon. Right. He's the one guy who I might put up there with those 3. At least, you know, maybe stronger than Hero, maybe stronger than Queen, but definitely not stronger than Soulkey. He's going to have to put up some amazing results if he wants to make me believe that.
Yeah, he's going to have to come back and practice really hard to squeeze into that top 2 spot yet again. I definitely think he'll be able to get up to that top 4 area on the board. It's just a matter of how long it takes him to squeeze up ahead of Queen and Hero with his gameplay. He's a very capable Zerg. We see a little bit of a fake out cannon rush here from YSC, just making it look like he wants to build pylons and cannons behind this to try and force an overreaction from Hero, but Hero is just going to be calling his bluff and only really sending out the bare minimal drones to prevent this, just as like a precaution here, just using the drones to slip behind the minerals to intercept that if that was going to be going down. And nothing really crazy will occur in this game. Although with this gateway first, maybe he can eventually get something done with the increased count of zealots. But Hero's going to be prepared for him.
Yeah, it's not a very convincing pylon or cannon rush threat, being that it's a 2-player map, and the probe didn't make it here before the hatch first came down, right?
Yeah.
Pretty clear. Oh, he does get that down. No block there from YSC. That's very nice. There's not really another good third base location, but what I was saying is that you don't see that probe. You're able to get your hatchery down. You're pretty sure that it's going to be a gateway. Otherwise, the Protoss player would have scouted you after pylon. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
kind of rule it out.
This is kind of unfortunate for YSC not getting anything done with this initial pressure. He's going to put some HP damage onto this. Hero's trying to be a little bit technical here and try and snipe off this probe to make it way easier to clean up this Zealot. With 2 Zealots and a probe, you can start 2-shotting the Zerglings, kind of giving you a pseudo +1 upgrades with the particle beam helping out. It looks like he wants to actually try and get this probe out of dodge and keep it alive for scouting later on, and just tuck tail and hide behind these mineral lines for the time being and try and avoid a counterattack coming out from Hero. Wants to keep the pressure on this hatchery to pin these lings back so that there can't be any damage done to the slow wall-in of YSC here. It's going to be some time until he's completely tight with a cannon set up there. Hasn't even got a forge as of now.
He's baiting with these lings. He's hoping that the Zealots will come out to start hitting this hatchery again, and then the lings that are just on the right-hand side here will be mistakenly... Yeah, he thinks that their overhead is natural, and so he could go in. Hero is a little bit too far to the left and gets spotted immediately. No easy cleanup going to be had for Hero on these 2 Zealots, and he can't get any sort of counterattacking going either. This is a little bit rough for Hero, honestly. I don't think that it's going to put him in an unwinnable position or anything like that. He's certainly capable of fighting from behind, but look, he's already pulled off his gas. He knows he's not going to be able to play just a normal game here. He's going to have to pump out a bunch of drones, go into a 4th hatchery, maybe get directly into Hydra or a spore colony just to keep his overlords alive, because this has not gone to plan.
Right. I mean, the one thing going for YSC is that he was able to get away with that fast core build and kind of slowed down the timing of his cannon and forge, which will allow him to optimize for a pretty crisp Stargate, and his tech overall will be... Ooh, pretty nice round though from Hero, pouncing behind the line of those Zealots. Not that efficient of linebackers, and does extremely efficiently clean up those Zealots after waiting patiently to get the best possible trades out of that situation. Even though he's gone for this fast Stargate play, we actually don't see the Corsair on the way quick enough. It's like he's just going to bypass making the Corsair to optimize the rest of his build and kind of made this Stargate as a precaution. It's kind of interesting take from YSC to go for this. Maybe he's a little bit worried that he can't really afford to do everything right now, so he's going to cut on his Corsair for just a little bit of time and make it a bit belatedly to just confirm the after tech pattern of Hero. But I don't know, man. I'm a little bit worried for YSC.
That was too bad he didn't make that a little sooner. He could have gotten a lot of damage. You can see Hero went to 5 hatches before Hydralisk Den, so being pretty greedy with this.
Right.
But I gotta say, dude, Hero, that timing when he was going back and forth with the lings, and then he measured it out so exactly at the moment when the ling speed finished, he was able to dart in behind and kind of catch YSC off guard there. Really got a great cleanup on those Zealots. Excellently done by him. Now, YSC looks like he's going to go over and try to get a couple more Overlord kills. I think he might be able to get 1 or 2 if he really hustles over here to the natural.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna get them. Yeah, just 1 Overlord kill. If he made that Corsair right on time, though, he could have easily gotten 2 Overlord kills, I think, for that first Corsair timing. It's a bit unfortunate he didn't pull the trigger on that. He's kind of allowing...
He's going to find this one.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, getting this Overlord up here will be great for him. A lot of Zerg players will try and hide their Overlords as best as they can. But if you can somehow get lucky and track one of them down, it's a big win to temporarily supply block the Zerg.
And he is indeed supply block for the time being. Hero, though, got 5 hatches out really fast with this build. He's completely foregone the majority of his tech, though. No layer, not having any sort of spire available means he's going to have to be really careful with these overlords. He will have to continue to make overlords over at that 3rd here shortly to make sure that if there was a DT Corsair play, that he would have detection over that base. He can't just send overlords over.
Right.
They'll never make it as long as YSC is paying attention. They come in, try to get a couple kills. Can he actually get something without losing a Corsair? Looks like he almost loses a Corsair and damages up these overlords pretty well. Looks like he might be thinking about going for an attack here into the front and utilize the Corsairs to snipe down as many overlords as he can behind it. Oh, great surround here by Hero, though, right as the Zealots are moving out, just before their upgrades are fully online. Getting a kill like that is amazing. And he's going to dive into the natural as well. Dude, why is he making some really serious mistakes? And he's going to take huge advantage.
Yeah, he's going to get a couple of these probe kills. And the main thing is just pulling these Zealots back. It allows a few more rounds of Hydras to finish out and not allow too much good trade value for these Zealots. By the time they now get across the map, he's going to have more than enough Hydras at both base to prevent any further damage. YSC's going to try and sneak around and pick off a few of these Overlords. He's done a pretty good job of that. A Hero has been supply blocked for a while now, and he's getting a couple additional Overlord kills as well. So this is some compensation for YSC, but I'm a little bit worried about these Zealots out on the map. They're not going to get much done. He has to be very careful about how he engages with these. He just needs to keep them as an active threat out on the map and try and keep Hero at bay. But Hero's just going to be calling his bluff and pushing the gas pedal all the way down to the natural expansion of YSC and potentially force him to make a DT just to stay alive.
Yeah, 1 DT here does hold everything. Making those extra cannons is certainly necessary, though. Even 1 DT can't save you if you only have 2 cannons there. So he is going to add on a few more, wait a bit longer for that Templar Storm to come online. Just not enough Zealots to take on a fight with these Hydras, man. There are so many Hydras on the field.
Right.
You gotta give it to YSC, though. He has done significant damage with these Corsairs, continuously killing off Overlords over and over again. I'm just not sure if it's enough.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has enough Storm to stay alive. Currently, there's that safety DT, just in case there was going to be that attack timing coming in. He can now also try and slip this into the 3rd or something when Hero's not paying attention. That could change the tempo of the game quite significantly. For the time being, though, a pretty significant lead for Hero in this game. He hasn't really been punished for going for this fast mass hatchery style. Now there is a big engagement on this lane, but there is an Overlord with speed now escorting these Hydras, so this DT won't be able to screen these Hydras for very long. Has got these 4 Templars in the natural expansion slowly churning away on their energy, so we'll have 4 Storms available to him to deal with this contain. But with some good Storm dodging, Hero can still apply pressure to this wall.
Would have been nice to keep some of these Zealots out on the map. I'm a little bit sad he didn't send those around and just start to bait the Hydras to run around the map chasing them, you know what I mean? Yeah. He does have a small group over at the bottom center that's going to try and slip in somewhere, but this is not nearly as significant as what it could be, and that's too many Hydras at the natural. Yeah, he is just not really going to get too much done with this. +1/+1 is done. YSC here in a safe position, but once Lurker upgrade is finished and Hero really gets his macro going with a 4th base, it's going to be very hard for YSC to break out of that containment.
I think so. He's having to remake the core in his main base at a critical junction where he should be producing Dragoons right now, and he just can't. Instead, going to be trying to slip out onto the map, distracting him with these Zealots and DT outside of his natural while he pushes out with his main force from his main base. But as you can see, there's not quite that many Dragoons that have yet been made, so there's not really a powerful escorting force for these High Templars. So we could be seeing some flanks with Hydras to try and pick off those High Templars out on the map if YSC's not careful. Hero's going to be doing a good job of just macroing up like a madman. Has done a good job of keeping that DT from slipping into one of his bases. Is trying to track that down currently, while YSC is using that small window of opportunity to come down on this bottom lane and see if he can get close to the rally point to start skirmishing with Hero. But he's going to see the bad news that Hero's got quite a critical mass of Hydras that have been produced already.
There must be a mutilus switch coming or something here, Shun. We've seen Hero just sit on three bases up to 11, almost 12 minutes. There it is. The mutilus switch is here, and he's going to go for this dive. No Corsairs available, so just diving straight in on top of this. Going to execute these Templar one by one, all of them going down. Great storm there in the middle of everything, but this is so many Hydras coming down from the north. The Mutas are still alive for the most part. Going to be raining down those glaives on top of all of this army, and the Hydras should be able to clean up everything else. YSC needs to like run into the main with a bunch of these Zealots and cause enough of a kind of a nightmare situation, just craziness on the side of Hero that he isn't able to just counterattack immediately. It doesn't seem like he's able to do so, though. YSC just runs away with the Zealots, and this base over here at 12 o'clock is never going to come up for YSC.
Yeah, I think he actually killed the Dragoon Range or something, and is now having to catch up with that Singularity Charge to give those units the range upgrade that they actually need. If he did get the cancel on that, that's pretty insane. Good timing for Hero when he attacked that wall. Yeah, I just don't know if there's going to be enough meat for YSC to break out and take a third base anytime soon. He's going to be mined out in like 4 or 5 minutes as well. So Hero just needs to maintain the game state and not really do much of anything besides make units. He might want to even be cautious about saturating this 4th base for the time being. Does manage to take out that DT in the top left to avoid disaster in the future. Just now needs to get his army together and get ready to go for round 2 with this army of YSC to prevent a third base from coming down from the Protoss player, and that will be a significant enough win condition for him.
Still 11 mutas here. He didn't lose hardly any mutas in that last fight and managed to kill most of the Templars. So Hero still has that strike force ready to snipe down a couple of Templar and just overwhelm any position that YSC wants to take. I'm really surprised to see YSC not just immediately gunning for this third base, because he needs that extra income. Even if he was to go across the map and win a big fight right now, he wouldn't be able to win if he didn't. If he just completely dried up moments later.
Yeah, I don't know if YSC's going to have much room for play in this. I mean, he's temporarily supply blocked Hero, but he's making another dive on these Templars, forcing out storms. Luckily, there's a couple of Corsairs here to try and screen those and give them a chase down. They are now softened up by the storm that maybe the Corsairs can trade out the majority of those. Some Hydras, though, are able to save the majority of those Mutalisks, so they do still exist. They will get a slowdown on this third base and assist this army. This is going to be a little bit problematic here for YSC. Has got 2 DTs to try and make use of the fact that there's no Overlords right on the screen, but another Overlord was making its way downtown to deal with that. So when all's said and done, Hero is going to be trading out more than enough of YSC's army to deny this third base from going up. And now the writing is on the wall for YSC. If he can't get out here and take this third base, he is going to bleed dry here in this game, and Hero is going to take another very convincing win soon.
Yeah, this is all she wrote. YSC is running out of minerals. He's running out of patches to mine from. Look at all the forces over here at the third, just preventing any sort of further expansion. And YSC's army is tiny in comparison. That was so many Hydras that Hero brought forward. In fact, a 50 supply lead is showing a Zerg victory here very soon. 1 High Templar here with a pretty good storm, but the best storms in the world aren't going to save you from Hero this game, YSC. It's time to tap out.
Yeah, I don't think he's got much hope here. He's staying in the game to see if there's any chance at maybe getting lucky with a couple of Psionic Storms, killing a massive pack of Hydras, and then taking a third base. The reality is, though, Hero was able to saturate his 4th base behind this, so now his Battle Zerg mode is even in greater production value. Can swing around with another pack of Mutas to try and intercept these High Templars from behind. Preemptive Storm does manage to go down on top of those, but it's not good enough. The Storm dodging is just too superior for Hero, and he is going to be cleaning up the last remnants of this Protoss force just before the reinforcements could kick in with the next macro round, and Hero will be able to take down YSC in this game. There's just not enough left in the engine of YSC. He's going to tap out. GG is finally called, and Hero potentially could go on a rampage and start picking up some wall kills.
조기석 선수도 윤수철 선수도 조일장이라는 악마에 압도당했습니다.
Okay, YSC is gone.
확실히 지금 기세 자체가 지금 조일장 선수가 많이 좋고 손도 좀 잘 풀려 있고 그렇기 때문에 좀 막아내기가 쉽지만은 않아 보이고요. 반대로 조일장 선수 입장에서는
Yeah, Aurora, it's going to be fun to see Soma come back.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
some replays of him playing on the ladder. He's been
경기력 같은 부분은 지금 더 이상 뭐
doing really well.
설명의 필요가
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to just pounce into top 4 position in the Zerg squad right away and then claw his way to top 2.
It's a real possibility.
자, 여러분께서는 KCM 종족 재연전 2025 두 번째 시즌의 개막전 보고 계시는데요. 이게 그동안 그랬던 거
Okay, it's time to send out the TVZ specialist. JYJ spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner. We got Hero cross map. Can this guy take down Hero, who's on already such a rampage? Definitely need to start getting some momentum in this series if they want to prevent that all kill or just an easy Zerg victory.
Right, I mean, JYJ has something Hero doesn't yet have, and that's an ASL championship title. So that's something to write home about, at least. Hero probably a little bit envious of that. It's such a coveted title, and he's never been able to quite secure it. Always come in runner-up, kind of the King of Silver in that regard. And he's got such a big challenge to overcome in getting that title at long last, especially if you got the likes of Soma coming back, maybe even Flash next season as well. Going to be having a quick 8 racks from JYJ to try and put on the pressure and control the game state by limiting the early game tech potential of the Zerg.
Yeah, he wants to get over there and put a little pressure on. See if he's able to force that. Oh, a quick pull. All right. Well, there it goes. And here's our opportunity.
Hero knows.
It's not over, of course. Hero's gonna have a pretty good spot here, but JYJ, he built this barracks very close to the wall, so he can actually lift this off as soon as he finds out what's going on. Lift this off, go back to the wall, make a CC. It's not as good as a normal 1 racks fast expand, but it'll be acceptable.
Right. Yeah, I think Hero taking a little bit of a page out of Soulkey's book and just being happy to play from behind no matter what here. And he is going to get the build order win in the early game. Slight miscalculation on his mineral optimizations there. Does finally get the placement of that drone. Is he gonna? Yes, he's gonna be doing a 2.5 hatchery follow-up as well. It looks like he doesn't want to optimize for tech timings either, so he's gonna be trying to play catch-up with his lava and drones after going for this early safety pool.
Well, let's see if he cuts a bunch of lings. Maybe he only makes 4, and then things can get a little spicy. With 3 Marines, you can take this, or 2 Marines is some really good micro with 2 SCVs. He sees the lings coming now. Just probably heading back home. Yeah, JYJ not going to risk it. Wants to see if there's any more lings following this up, but he's just going to head back home. Lift off that barracks and drop it in the wall. Wait a second. He's actually sitting here waiting. Wants to see if he can snipe a couple lings and then start to make things hard for... Yeah, he is going to get 2 lings. Ooh, 2 lings go down. That's big. JYJ now on the warpath here, going straight across the map, and Hero's only got 1 hatchery production. He can only make a couple lings at a time. This is kind of bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Marines can still beat 4 Zerglings and an SCV to body block and support. You kind of forced to go up to 6lings here, or at least pull a drone potentially. It's exactly what JYJ wants. Being patient really paid off. And now Hero going to be forced to produce potentially 2 additional pairs of Zerglings to deal with this. And now JYJ can even get behind the mineral line and be so annoying for Hero to clean this up. He might even want to make a sunken colony to deal with this.
Yeah, I think we'll see a sunken colony get thrown down. There's no real easy way of clearing this up, and that's so much damage already. Oh, the SCV is getting in the way. The SCV is making it so hard for these Marines to turn around. Wait a second. Oh, he gets 2 Marines in there. Dude, that SCV, an absolute Artosis supporter, man. That SCV... Oh my goodness, he is not a Flash SCV at all. I'm not recruiting him to my team.
Yeah, it does manage to get 2 Marines inside that bunker It's going to be difficult for him to get enough damage done to this hatchery to eventually kill it. Just means that Hero can't mine as optimally in the natural expansion. He's trying to be annoying by pulling out one of the Marines and targeting down. This does manage to get a gas onto that simulator, so he can't get the HP back on that drone. It does cost you minerals to actually do that as Terran, but yeah, trading like 20-30 minerals to kill the drone is not necessarily a bad trade. As long as he's hitting his timings back at home and is going to be sewn up tightly, that's going to be a nice early economic win for him. And that's a lot of Zergling investment from Hero with speed. It's going to slow down his Mutalisk production and economy overall so much. So if he can't get in here with these Lings and find compensation, which he shouldn't, this is going to be a pretty good game state for JYJ going forward.
Oh, dude, if JYJ got those Marines back and that SCV wasn't blocking them, I know it wasn't fully blocking, but it was messing with the AI guys. It was screwing up their pathfinding and wasn't able to get cleanly back behind that bunker. Dude, he would have gotten so much damage with that if he had just been able to pull those back a little bit more swiftly.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands, though, it's going to be interesting to see how Hero wants to play this. It seems like he wants to throw down his third hatchery on location at this natural third base. That's a good way of navigating this game. He knows he killed a few of those Marines early, so he could possibly get away with being a little bit greedy. Instead of just throwing this down as a macro hatchery to catch up on the economic curve, he's going to be a little bit greedy and put it down on location, knowing that there's very unlikely that JYJ will be able to produce enough bio units to come out and challenge these speedlings to snipe that before the mutas are a threat. So he's wisely going to be trying to, throw some adjustments out here to try and make up for the deficit that JYJ's put him in.
Bit of a scan there in the main. He's looking for the Spire, the timing on that. Turrets are being made. Okay, he's got the turrets on the way, but no turrets in the main. Uh-oh, this is kind of bad for JYJ. He had that eBay done for quite some time and just didn't add the turrets. That's wild.
Yeah, he's being a little bit too greedy here. He's prioritizing turrets in his natural and barracks, but completely neglected his main. Here we're going to be able to punish that. Now a pounce on this bunker in the natural expansion. There's not enough Marines in this bunker to hold it. Just a single Marine. JYJ being a little bit too greedy and optimal. Now is going to be facing absolute pain. He has to kind of deal with these Zerglings in the natural, but now the Muta's getting SCV damage done in the main base. Hero firing on all cylinders right now, putting the maximum amount of task switching pressure onto our Terran player, and is even stopping him from building the supply depot this entire time. He's crushing JYJ right now.
Oh, these Marines. Okay. Getting some pretty good shots there. I thought that the rallying mutas might actually get sniped, but he went after the mutas that were over the mineral line and managed to get a kill there and quite a bit of damage done. So for now, Hero just going to be backing away, holding off, but he's got a fair bit of tempo on his side. Can he actually open up the space over top of the barracks? You can see JYJ standing right over here, but that area over the barracks is actually the real threat. If he gets on top of that and continues to pump out Lings, he might be able to just win this game straight up. Doesn't seem like Hero's actually making Lings, though, now. It seems like he's switching into a more macro-centric game. You can see he's getting his third gas online and adding more drones to that third base.
Yeah, we see no tech buildings as of yet, so there still could be a 3-base all-in Muta play if he wants to continually pump Mutalisks off these 3 gas. That's definitely a viable option here for Hero. JYJ, just with this 3 barracks worth of production, might have a hard time coming out on the map and doing anything on Hero's side of things, but it's still possible. But with these 2 turrets defending the barracks location, if he does be too aggressive with these bio units, Hero could just pounce on that production line if he feels secure back at home. But with the early third base, wants to instead just keep track of this bio ball and try and shave some of that off. JYJ is going to have a tough time of engaging with these mutas and not getting shaved down to a nub here. Has to keep his army in square formation and try and get into a line formation to engage the mutas, so more of the Gauss rifles can engage at the same time, but he's having a hard time of doing that. Juggling his macro and keeping an eye on your bio 24/7 is a little bit taxing in terms of mechanics, and so far Hero getting the better end of the stick.
Hero sniping down a few Marines here and there, taking a little off the top, and adding on more mutas behind this as well. But mind you, he's going to reach a point pretty soon where he can just dive right on top of this. And I don't see another rally coming out for JYJ anytime soon. This is so many mutas. He is just going to be able to get on top of this and clear it. And we know how that sort of situation ended with Sharp.
Right.
As soon as he was able to pick off that first bio group, easily able to close the situation from there. Now killing off more and more and more of these bio. Finally just going to pull the trigger on the dive in. A few more Marines make their way up. Hero will be driven back for a moment, but he has even more mutas coming. He should be able to overwhelm this. He did make a little bit of a micro mistake there, not getting a shot off. That could actually start to swing things a little bit, but he gets back in, gets some more free hits on. JYJ is dwindling in number, and these Marines are not long for this world.
Yeah, he's 20 supply ahead right now. JYJ is just in absolute disarray. His bio control is just not on form today. He's not able to keep up with the ability of Hero, who's just been shaving him down to an absolute buzz cut right now. He thinks he'd look better with a cue ball and a nice shine on his head for the summer, San.
I know I do, Shun. Now, we've got Hero popping out his attack now. He's ready to make those lurkers to follow this up. I didn't see much attack from JYJ. It looks like the factory is done, though. They may even be starting his science facility as well, but Hero is just completely outdoing him. He's got his second starport on the way, yeah, but a hive is going to be coming online here soon, and you can bet lurkers just about done. So JYJ struggling. Can he put something together? Can he take in good engagement with these Mutalisks so that he can start to put some pressure on Hero's side of the map before the lurkers are out?
Yeah, I mean, this just looks too hard for JYJ to figure out. He's got some Zerglings and another pack of Mutas ready to pounce on this Bioball. Once it steps to a more dangerous location where he can get a full surround on it, he's going to pull the trigger on that. Wants to see if he can shave off just a few more units and wait for JYJ to get a little bit over ego with his positioning, and then he's just going to pounce on this army with a couple of lurkers supporting as well. It's going to be really difficult for JYJ to trade this off, even sniping one of the medics before the engagement goes down. I don't even think these medics have that much energy right now. It looks like they're struggling to keep all of these Marines healed on top of it all. Here comes the trigger pull from Hero. JYJ luckily pulling back to a more favorable position to defend against this. If he can keep shuffling back, he will technically stay alive. Even a Valkyrie coming out to act as some point defense for these bioforces, but now you're going to get contained by these lurkers. So the writing is on the wall for JYJ. If he cannot break out of this contain, there's not going to be any tanks on the way to support this, and with delayed vessels, it's going to be even more difficult to break this contain and prevent a Dark Swarm checkmate move coming out from Hero.
Yeah, these lurkers are not in the optimal spot, but it's still tight enough that I don't think he can break through 6 lurkers here, and those defilers are going to be on the way shortly. We're a long way off from vessels with Irradiate, and so by the time you get 2 vessels out with a couple of Irradiates, it's already going to be too late, I fear. Trying to run by there with the Marines. He's desperate to look for some way out of this very difficult situation, but Hero slowly closing the noose, continuing to add on more lurkers, and we're going to see that Defiler start walking across the map soon, that waddle of death making its way forward in just a moment.
Hero just trying to bait out stims and move forwards from JYJ by unbarring and rebarring the lurkers, taking tiny shuffles forward. Does get a potential snipe on this vessel as well with those Mutalisk glaives. Does succeed in doing so. Now pushing right up on this Bioball to tighten the noose all the way down. He falls through the trapdoor and his neck gets snapped, saying JYJ eliminated, and Hero just needs 2 more wins to get that all-kill prize.
버립니다. 정말 대단한 경기력이죠. 예. 엄청난데. 여러분, 우리 개막전 시작한 지 1시간도 안 됐거든요. 테란 1명 남았어요. 엄청납니다, 오늘.
All right. Hero is popping off.
Yeah. I thought you would.
원서치 방향이 나왔고. 참 이게 어려운 지금 상대가 됐습니다. 조일장 선수가 그냥
Hero absolutely popping off today, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. We got Stork bottom right. Nice to see Stork in the mix again. I don't know if he has what it takes to take on Hero, but I'll be happy to watch a game of his anytime.
Oh, absolutely. Just seeing him in the rotation is a treat for me. One of my favorite Protoss players of all time. The original King of Silver for Protoss. Yellow as well for Zerg was his counterpart, King of Silver, trying to deal with the likes of Boxer way back when. But following that transitionary point in history was then Stork, who became known as the King of Silver, always the runner-up, and he's now facing off against, you could say, the Zerg's King of Silver hero. So it seems like there's a little bit of a trend going on, and I'm happy that these two Silver Kings are able to fight off against one another and hopefully give us a golden game.
Forge opener from Stork. I was holding my breath to see what he was going to do, but with that very early probe scout, it makes sense that he would throw down the Forge. Now, I actually like Stork going for more Forge openers. I think that his overall speed is kind of deceiving, right? He's at 500 APM right now, but he doesn't seem to be able to task switch quite like these other guys, and the ability to fight with Zealots and hit his macro and kind of defend everywhere at the same time is not quite up to par. I would be ashamed to see Hero just pull him apart in the early game with Lings.
So this game, Stork went for 11 Forge, looking for a cannon rush, which is why he was like scouting with 2 probes so early on. And we saw, because Hero hid his second Overlord, Stork had to check the main base for a 9 pull, which allowed Hero to take this hatchery without being blocked. So Hero definitely doing better in the early game, navigating of the decision tree, and won't be punished by this early Forge from Stork at all. And also getting no slowdown on the economy is a little bit of a tough nut to swallow for Stork.
Well, Stork will have his cannon in time. He was able to figure out what was coming and threw his Forge, or his Nexus down before the cannon. So he was taking a bit of a risk there. Let's see if the Lings can get in. Actually, Lings are slipping past right now. We're not actually getting it on screen, but Lings came in. Might have gotten a kill here as well. Looks like they were trying to run by.
Yeah.
And one Ling was sniped, so not sure if any probe damage actually went down there, but in the end, it's not really going to matter here. Probe over on these gas drones, trying to put on a little bit of damage. That will be shut down now. Third base is on the way. Hero making the bare minimum number of Lings to hold, and Stork doing a good job of preventing those Lings from getting in his base so far.
Yeah, there's a bit of a Ling in park moment there, where in the end it doesn't even matter. San does manage to get this third hatchery set up in this 9 o'clock. He has got something checking for a potential cannon rush up there as well, just to make sure Stork's not being super crazy with a second probe out on the map, trying to get a delayed cannon rush on that third hatchery. Does sometimes happen to you guys on the ladder, so make sure you're checking behind the mineral line at your third base as well, because sometimes that delayed cannon rush can catch you your blind side and really punish you. Doesn't look like we're going to have anything crazy like that in this game, but a pretty early second gas from Hero. So it does seem like he doesn't want to focus purely on Hydras this game. Instead, does want to tech up extremely fast, maybe even going into some early Mutalisks here.
That's a filthy play for sure, putting a delayed cannon rush at the third base. But we even saw that in ASL this season, guys, so don't sleep on that for sure. It's definitely viable. I think it was YSC who actually did that this season. Am I wrong?
I think so. You might be right. Yeah.
YSC pulling out some fancy stuff here. Stork not able to get a cannon rush going at all, either on the natural or the third. Behind this, he's going to be getting into his build. He's being very risky with the Zealots right now. He's got one Zealot way out on the map, was trying to loop around to the third. That's going to get caught and killed. You're going to wipe that out. And the second Zealot was actually heading out as well. If there was a bunch of Lings being made at that moment, there's only one cannon in the natural, we could have seen a big run by happen and Stork get himself into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, this is already a little bit problematic that he's had a great surround on one of these Zealots already. and sniping one of
run
those
by.
off. Ooh, tries to get a run by.
Great
Beautiful
shot.
pro block, but does manage to go around the left-hand side. We'll get at least 2 of these Zerglings into the main base. Actually 3 with them all on one shot from that cannon. Can probe drill and kill one of them off very quickly if he does manage to find that weakened Zergling. So Hero just wanting to buy as much time as possible with these Zerglings by forcing some probes off the line and avoiding the drill onto the Zerglings to actually kill them. So far so good for Hero. If he gets a couple of kills on top of the probe pools, that's a big win for him. Not only is he getting so much lost mining time from Stork, but even just any probe kills right now is just icing on the cake.
Oh, gonna lose a probe there. Oh no! This is what I was talking about. Stork, not the greatest at hitting this fast switching, and a Hero just so good at being everywhere at once. Lose the Zealot here in the main base, not able to get any drones. He does see the mutas popping out, though. That's a really big scout. Can make 2 cannons back at home. Are they going to be in time, though? Cannon over the natural mineral line is looking a bit dicey. 3 Corsairs, I think, making their way back, or 2 Corsairs making their way back, and a total going to be 3, perhaps. Yeah, 3 total. Oh, this might be really, really rough to hold. Hero just going to dive right on top of that. 1 Corsair goes down. That's a little bit rough. Stork really should have been able to keep that alive. He is going to go after that 1 Scourge. He does manage to pick that off, but okay, 1 more Corsair pops out. He's got 3 Corsairs, 1 cannon. Can he keep himself alive? It's a really dangerous situation here. Hero going to bring in some more Scourge. Can he get another connection? You got to pull back right now. Stork just going to let these hit. Oh, and I think it's just about over.
He even split those Scourge to kill both of those Corsairs with that next pair coming in. This game is all but over for Stork. There's such a razor-thin timing window. Look at how low the HP are on these mutas. He actually has to tuck tail and run from this singular Corsair with how optimized the trades have gone. There's a little run-by of Zealots to try and see if they can get something done. Do manage to get past that Sunken and Zerglings into the main base to force some task switching out of Hero. 1 Zergling's not enough to clean up that Zealot, so we'll maybe potentially get some drone kills here. The Sunken at the 3rd will deny too much damage done from the additional Zealot sent to the 9 o'clock position, but he is killing these cannons one by one and the Corsairs as they're popping out. He needs to make an Archon or something to stabilize this game state. It's not looking so good for Stork. He's probably trying to avoid having to do that, but as a result, he's going to lose control of his main base, and now only mining on 1 base versus a 3 base Zerg. It's all but over for him in this game.
Yeah, he's completely out of luck with this main base. No way to keep that alive now. Another Corsair pops out, but now the next target's definitely going to be that Stargate. That Stargate will fall. It was a little bit dicey for a moment when Hero didn't send his rallies up immediately, but yeah, go ahead.
I think there's a slow drop into the main base right now from the 6 o'clock. I think he's slowly going to drop Lings into the main base as well on top of this. That's insane if that's what he's doing.
Can he really afford
I didn't think so.
Mutas and the drop as well? That would be crazy. I think it might be crazy, Shun, but we'll see. Is there actually a slow drop coming? Oh, a DT running by. Can that get into the main? Okay, it is here in the main base, but there is 1 Overlord. Very smart play from Hero to keep 1 Overlord back at home. That was definitely intentional. He sent that back rather than just allowing it to rally out. And so he will be able to deal with the DT, and the Hail Mary DT has failed. Stork is going to lose his Nexus and all of his tech aside from that Gateway and Cybernetics core. That is a really hard position to come back from. It's not impossible, but against a player like Hero, who's playing absolutely out of his mind today, it feels impossible.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a slow drop into the main, saying false alarm. Just a bit of a weird rally point there from Hero, making it look like that's what was going to happen with the Overlord moving into position into the main base. And bottom right does finally pull the trigger on making that Archon after he's lost the Nexus. So he was trying to not to have to bite that bullet, but when all's said and done, he's going to get shot in the face multiple times because he didn't want to have to go down that path. And now he's in a world of hurt. He's playing on 1 base economy versus a 3 base Zerg, who's playing like an absolute madman right now, trying to look for any kind of compensation by moving out with this Archon and a few Zealot forces, but it's not going to be enough. These mutas have too much mobility. They can fly back home to defend in a heartbeat if they need to. Might be able to get in here and get some damage done in these bases, but a second Sunken coming out at both locations to reinforce that and try and mitigate any disasters that could come his way.
Yeah, double Sunken is a great play here. This Sunken over on the 3rd base is actually Not that well positioned, and so he's gonna probably end up losing that immediately. Kurt's trying to get in here and actually kill off the Corsairs, but he manages to keep the Corsairs alive for the time being. This Archon trapped in the corner is gonna go down though, and now Mutas can easily clean this up. Yeah, that's it. All the remaining forces are gone. Stork taps out. Kind of like his tap out timing though. You know, he's stuck in there just to see if he could get that DT in. If maybe he could get over to that third base and start to cause a comeback to happen. That's just a lot of mutas though. And Hero was not willing to take his foot off the gas pedal at all. Just kept making defenses and army. Wasn't, you know, over droning or anything like that. And so no comeback is forthcoming. Hero continuing on with his rampage.
I really did think that Hero was going to be smashing face today.
He's mad.
He's mad.
Can't blame him. All right. What's up, guys in the chat? How you doing today? Hope you're doing all right.
Yeah. It's a new thing we're doing here, bringing the KCM to the Soups live, but hopefully you guys can come and hang out with us more often now that we're going to be doing a bit more EU time-centric casting.
Yeah, we're doing it right around the same time as ASL. So yeah, you guys should be able to get in here. The ASL jersey raffle, what would you call it? Giveaway is live. So if you guys want to support us, donate a gift a sub or donate 50 gems, and you'll be entered to win. It's all being handled by Soup. If you guys are interested in that, winning that jersey, that's how you enter. We're going to jump into our next game here. What's up, Mundane Dave? Speed, the final Terran player of the night. 10-minute flash in the top left-hand corner. Sexy. This is other AKA with Hero over in top right. Looking forward to this, man. Speed had a really hard time playing, or he's having and has had a very hard time playing offline tournaments, but he is kind of approaching that god tier status, the kind of level that you need to actually break through a player like Hero.
Right, yeah, he has been playing out of his mind. I hope his wrists can stay attached with the amount of speed he's able to muster. I haven't seen enough convincing games from him to think he's going to easily take on someone like Hero, but if anyone's going to do it tonight, it might have to be him. Hero's on a rampage though. He must be so furious by not being able to perform at his best during the ASL and getting caught off guard one or two times too many, and now he just wants absolute revenge and reasserting his dominance in the scene and making sure these guys start quaking in their boots at the mere mention of his name.
I wonder, it makes me wonder how many mice and keyboards do these pro players go through? A player like Speed,
a lot.
Because I've gone through 3 mice this year, Shun, just gaming at my level, and we've got 500 APM with Speed playing 14 or 20 games a day probably. Crazy.
I know in the Korean culture, it's actually part of the gift-giving culture in gaming to actually gift each other like mice and keyboards as well, especially the more rarer, harder to source ones, which you regularly go out of stock and what have you. Back in the day, there was there's not really much variation in what keyboards and mice they like to use. Even now, it's still pretty tight what kind of range of equipment and peripherals they will like to use for playing Starcraft at a professional level. So usually they'll be gifting each other a few mice here and there as well as a way of saying thank you for practice or something. And these guys definitely get through a lot of them. I imagine at least 2 a year for the average gamer, and anywhere up to 5 or 6 a year for some of the more crazy gamers.
That's very interesting, actually. If I go back to Korea and join in the ASL in the future, or meet some of these guys, maybe we'll bring KCM a mouse or something like that. I think that would be cool as a gift.
Yeah.
A good bit of information. Now, we've got this bunker being thrown down. This is not an 8 racks out of speed, but he's still able to apply quite a lot of pressure with this. In fact, he is going to be forced back, though. This is a really good defense from Hero overall.
Yeah, he doesn't surprise me when he is able to navigate these early game defenses. He's probably one of the only guys that remotely comes close to the Sulky-esque impenetrable wall of defense. And he's just so calm and calculated, like a psychopathic killer in doing so. He never seems to get flustered by those early shenanigans either. So it looks like he is going to be able to navigate this into a slightly favorable position to work with. Second barracks now starting for speed. That Spire timing's a little bit delayed because of the mineral optimizations. As long as it starts around 4 minutes, though, you're still going to be feeling pretty comfortable with that, especially with the 2.5 hatchery setup here.
Speed just going to sit back here behind his wall. He's got to be careful right now. Doesn't know how many lings are being made, and it's typical for the Zerg player to prepare for a quick academy rush like this by just making a bunch of lings and waiting for you to start to move out. You get trapped against that wall and get completely annihilated. Now, I don't think that's what Hero's going for, but by shutting down that early bunker and having all those lings out, he's kind of forced Speed to just sit passively back at this wall. Okay, Speed adding on even more barracks here. He's going to go up to 3. Will he continue to add more, or will he just start to transition? Looks like he's going to go 3 racks into a factory. Here comes that push. No scan, notably, from Speed. Supreme confidence that there wasn't that ling explosion that I was talking about.
Right, yeah, he's definitely feeling pretty confident in himself right now. Going to be forcing out a couple of Sunkens as well from Hero. That's pretty good so far. The main question is he going to be throwing down this 4th racks before a factory or not? Has still got time to do that if he wants to. Around about 6 minutes is when we'll see this factory come online, if it's going to be a more reasonably timed factory. You can still go 4 racks and make it a bit belatedly closer to 7 minutes, but yeah, 7 minutes is really like the cutoff point for your Tekka's Terran. If you make it any later than that, you'll just be off curve from the hive timing of the Zerg, and will have no possible attack timings of your own to speak of.
Yeah, Hero's going to be hitting his build pretty perfectly, but he's been delayed with the addition of those. Oh, he actually just made all drones. Wow.
He does this sometimes.
So, yeah, just a massive round of drones and only 3 Mutalisks being made. We're going to see a big explosion of Mutalisks here soon, but you're really focusing on his economy early, expecting that Speed was going to be able to hold everything.
Yeah, Hero likes to go for this sort of fake out where he makes between 3 and 5 mutas initially, and the rest is just going to be pure drones, at least for the time being. Explode in his economy. And even though he's on these 2 bases, it doesn't really matter if he's got a late 3rd base when he's got this much of economy to power out. And he's going to be able to get an explosion of Zerglings and Mutas to clean up the Bible later on if he needs to. And look at how many turrets are being made for Speed when there's like barely any Mutalisks right now. So Hero is definitely going to be winning out in terms of what he's spending his army on. And he's gone up to the full power spike of saturation. Usually it's 1 drone per patch as your first power spike for Zerg, and then you go up to about 12 drones per base to get that next level of power spike, and he's already got that, and now is going to be starting to pump out the Mutalisks to refill this small count early on to optimize his economy as much as possible.
We'll be taking the 3rd base a little bit closer to himself and really starting to make good use out of this 3rd hatchery, making a lot of lings and mutas. Has that full 11 now. Very small force of Marines on this low ground, and so we could easily see that get cleaned up along with the turret. And then Heroes start to take dominance here over the front of this base. Yeah, he's just going to kind of sacrifice a bit of health on these mutas, make sure that he gets that, and now he can start to really pull him apart. Has the Hive on the way already, by the way, will be making that transition. This is a very powerful 2-base play from Hero with that kind of later 3rd base. He's going to have a lot of units to work with. Speed getting into his tech now. He is on curve with the tech. How much damage can Hero do with this power spike, though?
I mean, this is going to be problematic, though. Speed is going for Valkyries instead of Vessels, so he's kind of gambling that Hero is not going to be having a fast transition behind this. So if Hero does get that Lurker aspect seriously early on and gets his own defenses up back home, he's going to be feeling so great about it. Has already got that Den finished up, so it's not surprising if he has already got that Lurker aspect on the way. By the time these Valkyries are ready to give a crisp timing window for Speed to come out onto the map, the transition will be underway for Hero already. So Speed currently playing into Hero's hands completely. A big Mutaling stab though, trying to get on top of this Bioball while they still can, and that's going to be a pretty easy cleanup on R5 for Hero, and he's not even going to be able to utilize these Valkyries in defending these Bio units. It's almost like Hero doesn't even need to transition to beat Speed right now. He's just playing that much out of his mind. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's going to dive in here with some more Lings. Has the Lings to start killing off the turrets there. Looks like Speed will utilize that 2nd Valkyrie to start to push this stuff back. But Hero has so much momentum on him, on his side now. It's basically how all the versus Terran games have gone so far. He kills that first Bioforce, and then he never lets go of the lead after that. He's got the transition perfectly timed. He's got the Lurkers coming out. He's still got a lot of mutas. Scourge are here, and you know, the Speed's gone ahead and invested a bunch into these Valkyries. He's lost one. He's getting up to that critical mass, but he just doesn't have many Marines here either. Here comes the Scourge. Okay, not going to get that kill there. Speed, well known for his very good Valkyrie control, will keep the remainder of these alive, but it's still him on the precipice of full 10 supply behind at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hero just has such a good read on what the situation is, and knew to come in there with his Mutaling right before any air support was ready from Speed. So unfortunately, not going to be successful. Oh, some hold position Lurkers as well. This is another disadvantage of going for Valkyries, is you don't have the mobile detection. So now Hero can just pull the trigger on smashing these Bio units if he wants to. Luckily though, Speed, being a bit more tentative with his army location, actually gets a little bit of damage done onto that Lurker because of the splash damage from targeting that Zergling. Doesn't really matter though. If he does pull the trigger on coming out onto the map even just a little bit further than this, these other 2 Lurkers on hold position are going to ravage these Marines.
I think he's just going to take it. 1 Lurker hitting is going to be enough. It's going to deal a lot of damage, and he's got the Lings. Yeah, here it is. That Lurker in the back line going to start to hit all of these Marines. Now he can dive on top of everything. Ooh. Scourge are going to connect. You know, you can't really win this fight. That's way too many Valkyries, but winning the fight on the ground is enough. The mutas are going to go ahead and run away, and the Lurkers can run straight up here to the natural and start to deal insane damage. You're going to get on top of that rally point, on top of that ramp, and then the SCVs here in the natural just have nowhere to run to. Trying to switch into a mech play from this position. Speed is just not going to find his way there, and these SCVs are dead in the water. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. There it is. Hero. Complete all kill on this Terran squad, and he's 1 step away from a double all kill here in week number 1. Absolutely insane. Came in with a vengeance today. He's taking it out on this whole Protoss Terran squad. Really impressive.
Yeah, I kind of suspected we'd have a potential double or kill on our hands right from the start, just because of how things have gone recently for Hero. Does make sense.
Alright, Speed is gone.
자, 그래도 조일장 선수가 이제 조금 이제 어떤 위기라고 좀 얘기하기 좀 그렇고요. 예. 올킬을 못할 수 있는 확률이 좀 이제 데이터로 표현되어 있는 거는 vs 변현재전, 예, vs 변현재전 2승 0패로 조일장 선수가 밀리고 있다는 거. 예. 한 달간 상대 전적이 2대 0으로 변현재 선수가 앞서.
All right, guys, this has not gone according to plan, that's for sure. At least for the Protoss and Terran lineups. Aaron is completely gone, and Zerg one step away from taking this one home. Mini, the last hurdle here for Hero for that double all kill. He's already won the 1,500,000 won prize for that all kill. But just for honor's sake, just for the sake of argument, gonna go ahead and try to get this double all kill now.
I feel a bit vindicated saying I kind of predicted the double all kill right from the start. At least something like this was going to be happening. I just kind of knew deep down in my heart. Hero's like my spirit animal, man. He's like one of my favorite player of all time currently. And I definitely think he's a little bit salty about how things have gone recently for him in some of these offline events, and does want to reestablish himself as a force to be reckoned with, at least in the online scene for the time being, and making these guys more and more fearful of him for his future tournament runs. And he will have to battle it up from the right from the start in the next events. If you can't make it through to that sort of, you know, semi-final spot, you're not going to be getting your seed in the future tournaments. It makes it all that more harder to battle for a title the next time around. So wants to have every possible tactical edge going his way. In this game, has got a drone ready for a potential cannon rush to tuck behind this minerals and make it difficult for Mini to get anything done here. But it is going to be a gateway first from him.
Yeah, good thought there from Hero, just to make sure that that's not an option for Mini. Going to keep that drone there. Knows that this guy is a tricky Protoss player to deal with. That's going to be hard to handle if Mini starts to really get a cannon rush going. But you're right, he is going for a Zealot attack to start this one off. Sending it directly across right now. And this was a hatch first, so there's some potential damage to be had here. Did put quite a bit of damage on that probe, though. Probe trying to be a little bit cheeky there, putting some damage on these drones, but in the end, actually takes quite a bit of hits and won't be as helpful with this Zealot coming into that main base. Now, Hero is going to bring out a drone here. Can he put one more hit on that? Okay, very close to the kill there. Able to dodge that Zealot attack as well, and I think the best he can do now is just go behind the mineral patches. He really won't get too much done, I don't think.
Yeah, he's going to at least pull the drones off the line temporarily. Oh, beautiful surround on that Zealot, though. That's crazy. Can he deny it getting from behind the mineral patch? Okay, no. Does at least keep this Zealot alive and safe, but now you can get the surround on both sides, 2-on-1 on either side for a pretty decent enough surround to work with. Some good micro from Mini to try and make up for that, but not going to be enough. The second Zealot coming in as well. We'll have to try and quickly get behind the minerals in time. Should be successful in doing so, and this is a much better spot for him because you can't get around from the other side and get a 4-on-1 surround, so we'll be able to trade off at least 3 or 4 of these Zerglings before that Zealot finally goes down.
That was absolute god tier control with those drones there to defend the Zealots. You guys don't know how hard that is to do. It's so crazy difficult to make a hold like that, to actually catch a Zealot that's kind of retreating out of that main base. The initial Zealot supposed to get a little damage going, but it really didn't get much. The second Zealot got a better trade against those Lings, and so there's not actually enough Lings just yet to deal with this. Those 2 Zealots would still win this trade. And possibly have both Zealots left alive at the end of this fight, but a few more Lings, he needs to buy time for those to come out, and then he can deal with this follow-up. 3 Zealots making their way in here. Can start to snowball out of control, but I think Hero's going to be able to handle this okay.
Yeah, Hero's so confident, man. Even though he sees no cannon being made from Mini, he's actually going to be going into a 9-7-3. Usually you don't go for 9-7-3 against a gateway first unless you do a good job of defending and killing off these Zealot forces, but he's so confident that he's going to get the better end of the stick and trading off these Zealots right here, right now, that he can still go for this Hydra play. It does look like he's barely going to trade off all 3 of these Zealots here, and it's exactly what he needs to do if he is going for this Hydra play.
This is going to be a very swift Hydraless follow-up. Not even going for the full 9-7-3. Okay, does add a few more drone czars, so he is going to hit that a 9-7-3 number. Only 8 here, 3 in the natural. Okay, he actually adds a few more. A little bit surprised. I thought he was going to switch right into Hydras now, but he's got a little time still. Quite a few drones have been made now, though. is this going to be a full transition? Maybe he makes a couple of hatcheries here and just goes for Hydras to defend the eventual Corsair that's going to be coming out.
I think Hero actually made a mistake and didn't make an Overlord when he was supposed to, so we couldn't make the prerequisite amount of Hydras to make this work. So instead, he's transitioning and just going to be taking a fast 4th base instead, and is going to be making adjustments to his play. Zealots making their way around to this 4th base location to potentially punish this. There might be enough Zerglings and Hydras with speed to come in here and defend this, but still can get something done. It's still pretty good scouting information for Mini to know that this 4th base is actually coming online. So he knows it's probably a fake Hydra bust. Nothing for him to really worry about here. But if he can't get any damage with these Zealots, it's still going to be problematic for him. He's got to make cannons back at home anyway, just to make sure he doesn't just die. And if he can't get any compensation with these Zealot move out, he's in a little bit of trouble. The main thing he's getting from these is critical scouting information. Sees no lair on the way, and sees the fact that there's this fast Hydra den to worry about. But I don't know if this is going to be enough compensation for Mini. He's lost so many Zealots in this game already that even if he does have all this scouting information to work with, he doesn't really have much window to punish Hero. He potentially could go for a Ser DT play here. Has a pretty exceptionally quick Robo, so he's actually been going into a Reaver play. So it's going to be a Reaver Ser as the follow-up. So that could get very interesting. We saw Mini pull out Reaver play in the ASL recently as well. Maybe he can make something work here as well to get the better of Hero, but I think with the way this game is going, this isn't going to be the rematch that we saw between these two players going the same way. This is going to be potentially Hero getting good revenge.
Just out of range here, able to kill a gateway pretty much for free. I don't think he'll get much more though, and the Zealot should be able to come in and start to harass. I'm surprised he didn't send that to the 3rd, which is absolutely wide open, but he's going to send it here into the natural, try to kill some Hydras that are fighting off the Corsairs, but that's just going to get picked off basically for free as well. No Overlord kills thus far. Might get one drone here in the natural. No, not even going to get that. Reaver is out now. Hero is well underway with his economy looking fantastic. Can he hold this Reaver? The first Reaver is the critical one with Reaver Corsair play. If you don't get any damage, if you lose that first Reaver without really doing a big amount of damage, you are going to be kind of dead in the water with that play. The follow-ups are going to be worse and worse. You really do need to get the ball rolling here with this first attack.
Yeah, with this 4 base early setup from Hero, there's definitely a lot of windows to exploit for Mini, but also a lot of economy for Hero, so he has to come in here and do some damage soon. Corsair trying to scout around and try and find some good vectors of attack here. Looks like it's going to be the 4th base location that does get hit with this Reaver, at least initially. I've got 7 Hydras to defend against that, which is like the bare minimum to be able to make sure you can shut down this Shuttle and Reaver without getting overwhelmed. He might be able to still get something done here if he can like get 1 or 2 Scarabs off for free. He can then come in with the Reaver and get some good follow-up damage. The 2 Zealots will buffer a little bit for this Reaver, but he can still just evacuate his drones and prevent too much critical damage being dealt to him. This is still only his 4th base, so he's not too worried about taking some damage. So far, so good for Mini. Picked up a few drone kills and managed to get out alive. Can he swing round into the natural expansion now and get some continuation damage after pulling out?
Getting a few snipes on the outro here, but the shuttle is getting a little low. And Hero is completely wise to this now. He knows exactly what's going on, so he's spreading the Hydras appropriately, making sure that there's no surface area for this Reaver to drop. No safe area to drop this down. Again, going to go from the low ground. It is very hard to get the Reaver to shoot up a ramp, though.
Oof.
Great shot there, and good pullback as well. Really good control here from Mini, getting the most out of this Reaver, but Hero is getting bigger and bigger. He's got this 4 base economy online so quickly with so many hatcheries up. he is going to explode in supply here shortly.
Yeah, this game is definitely still going Hero's way. There is some good compensation for Mini early game to get some value out of that Reaver, but with the 4 bases already set up from Hero, he's not too worried about weathering some damage at this 4th base location. Mini knows that as well. That's why he's pulling the trigger on going all the way up here to do some damage, hoping that the army of Hero is out of position, but he has got a big round of Hydras that are finished up here. With good micro, though, Mini can still get these good Scarab connections on these Hydras and does manage to find them so far. He can still break through this position of Hero if he doesn't send some reinforcements up here soon. The Sunken will buy him some precious seconds for these Hydras to make their way up into this pocket to defend. Mini, though, going to be quickly dealing with that and then trying to get on the drone line.
I'm really surprised that Hero went all the way across the map with these Hydras. You know, went kind of tried to get aggressive with the Hydras, almost going right up to the natural rather than staying back at home and just dealing with these Reavers. As long as you just keep shutting down the Reaver play over and over again and don't let the first couple of Reaver drops get any damage, you're going to be in a great spot. 22 kills on this Reaver is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Gonna go ahead and split these Hydras up, and he will get that Reaver, finally clearing out this attack. Quite a bit of slowdown here, though, on the economy of Hero with all this attacking going on.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good for Mini. He has done a really good job of dishing out as much damage to the economy of Hero as possible. Doesn't really matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Hero was able to macro on all cylinders still, despite that. Now wants to push the issue. I think this is going to be a drop play into the main base of Mini. He's got a lot of Hydras and Overlords ready to scoop them up. And yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a doom drop in the main base. Mini is sharking around with his own shuttle and Corsairs out on the map to try and do some continuation damage of a DT in the main base as well. Trying to get a snipe on this Hydra Den or something if he can. But now the drop is already going to be online for Hero in the main base of Mini. There's nothing back at home to defend. No cannons are set up or anything, so this could be a little bit troublesome for the Protoss player to re-establish control of his main base domain. Could be trying to sacrifice his main base a little bit to try and get a bit of a base trade scenario by killing off the hatchery in the main base. Wasn't able to successfully do that, though. Some storms coming out on these packs of Hydra in the main base. They're split enough, though, to still trade pretty cost efficiently and get some snipes on the Reaver and High Templars that are coming in to reinforce. So Hero definitely winning out on this base trade scenario, and Mini unable to do too much counter damage.
Yeah, Mini lost his Reaver in that main base. He is going to get some Zealots in over here in the top right. Corsairs are going to be going down. The follow-up drop might be denied for a moment, but eventually Hero can continue to just rally forward and drop more and more stuff here into the main. It's so hard to defend a drop with just pure Reaver. You can drop right on top of the Reaver, and it's not like Storm where you can just throw down storms on the Overlords, and as everything pops out, it just dies. Right. Reavers, they fire, and then they deal the damage, and if you're dropping out, it actually helps that the Hydras are dropping out slowly, because one Hydra drops, the Reaver shoots, and then the next few Hydras that drop out, they're not going to be in range of that first Reaver shot, and there's going to be a delay until the next shot comes out. So drop really does help against that, and it's set up Hero into a pretty good spot here. He did go down to 3 bases, though. Mini still has some options here. He's going to try and get in with the DT. Killing off this Overlord and getting in with the DT would be big, but here comes more Hydras. Tracking down the Zealots over in the top left-hand corner is very good as well. Switching into a Spire. Hero has a ton of leeway here with kind of a head in supply. There's not that kind of ball rolling downhill that we usually see with Reaver, or when Reaver plays end up winning. It's just really Mini kind of playing from behind right now, and that's never where you want to be with the Reaver play.
Yeah, even sniping this DT that was trying to make its way into the main base of Hero, and critically, Hero did a good job of scouting and denying a third base from going up from Mini at that 9 o'clock during all of this as well. And that's one of the ways that Mini needs to win a game like this, is keep Hero distracted, then sneak a third base online to transition. He hasn't been able to do that, so he's pretty all in with his 2 bases right now, trying to find some desperate compensation by doing a mass amount of economic damage to Hero. Has got some Hydras moving into a defensive position to deal with this. Storm Drop does manage to kill at least 4 or 5 of those drones with that first Psionic Storm, though. Keeps this shuttle out as an active threat. Tries to swing round to the third base location. Pretty good Storm and Scarab connections, killing another 5 drones there. Also trying to soften up this Sunken for future efforts. Is doing a good job of keeping Hero pinned back and worrying about defense right now. That maybe Mini can still secure a third base soon, but it looks like there's too big of macro engine for Hero to work with. I don't know how Mini is going to get a third base up undeterred.
Yeah, these mutas coming out now are a great counter. 1 cannon being focused on in the main base there. 1 Corsair as well. Can start to overwhelm in the air. Usually when you go for a Reaver play, you've got kind of a massive ball of Corsairs flying around, but Hero's been sniping those down little bit by little bit. Mini kind of trading those off for Overlords and taking those trades over and over again have kind of reduced that supply, that army. No Archons here at all. Okay, he does have a few Corsairs. Can he get a big Storm here? Okay, that Storm was amazing. Storm took out most of those Scourge, and look at this. Mutas are going to do absolutely nothing. They're even going to get tracked down for the most part. So many of them are dying right now. The Corsairs are going to fall. But this is great. Getting rid of a lot of these mutas is going to allow more leeway for these Reavers to actually deal damage.
Yeah, that's definitely a big win for Mini, siphoning off some of that damage potential by getting a good preemptive Storm on his own Nexus as the mutas were flying in like that. Even the 3 Corsairs chasing down some of those weakened mutas as well, really softening things up. For Mini to now feel a little bit more confident coming out onto the map and maybe starting to think about either securing a third base or just getting a really strong 2-base push timing. He's got such a large army to move out onto the map with a lot of Psionic Storm to work with, not a high worker count, which is why Hero looks so higher in supply right now. But Mini can still win this fight with a good engagement. Just needs to be careful he doesn't get surrounded too badly and make sure he makes good use of these Scarab connections from these 2 Reavers in the shuttle. Hero does try and come in and get some snipes on these Templars. The High Templars do go down, all but 1 in the back line, trying to screen the flank of Hydras. Hero has been able to take a lot of the sting out of this army, but it's not over yet here. Mini can still make this work, or at least get back to safety with this army, utilizing the Reavers as his main source of splash here. He is trying to wait for a round 2 of High Templars to come out to support him in dealing with the flood of Hydras that are going to start to surround him. Pulls back to this high ground pizza slice and at least waits for more additional units to come out of his gateways.
Those are some critical snipes from Hero, and that was a Hydra smashing force, having like 5 Templars in there with 2 Reavers as well. You can just completely wreck a big Hydralisk army with that, but he manages to get rid of all the Storm and takes away Mini's confidence in his ability to just push in there. Another drop is going to come into the main. There is still a Templar available to try and deny that. A great shot with that Reaver, actually killing a lot of those Hydras, and he's starting to push forward while this drop is coming into the main. Can he hold on and get this push going at the same time? Corsairs are going to come back here and try to help out. Great Storm there. Looks like the Hydras will start to deal some damage in this main. Can he make this chaotic? Actually going to clean that up pretty solidly. Mini coming in towards the natural is going to get completely surrounded, though. There's so many forces coming up from behind, but there's no mutas to actually start sniping these Corsairs. Okay, that's a big snipe there. He actually killed the shuttle with just some Hydras wrapping around the top side. Losing that shuttle, I'm really losing confidence that Mini can actually clutch this one out. It's so scary with those 2 Reavers in the mix, but as soon as he gets rid of that, the Hydras can really start to overwhelm everything.
I mean, there's just not going to be many more minerals left for Mini. He needs to get a third base up online right this second. He's now mined out almost completely in his main and natural. Hero just needs to storm dodge and play keep away while he macros more and more army. There's not going to be much income for Mini to speak of. I hope he replaced those 2 probes that got stormed on his main gas as well, because he needs to make sure he gets as many Templars out and Dragoons with this army as possible while he still can, to have any chance of staying in this game. We'll finally start to produce a Nexus at this mineral only location, but Hero is ready to pounce on this with some Hydras from behind. If he gets a snipe on this Nexus, is going to be insane. If he targets that down and forces a counter, that'd be huge. Luckily, some preemptive storms to block that from occurring. We'll be able to keep Mini in this game for the time being, though. With that 4-base economy starting to kick in for Hero, he's got this 4th base of only a few drones mining, but the more and more drones he's able to squeeze out to start mining up at that location, he's going to be able to unleash the floodgates on Mini soon and go for a Sauron-esque Zerg style and just overwhelm him before he can get this mineral line finished.
Once that mineral only finishes up, that's going to be Mini's only source of minerals. Drop coming in here to the 3rd base. Oh, is he going to get a big storm on a lot of these minerals? Oh, that's a lot of drone damage. You know, Hero is very low on drones right now. His economy is actually in shambles, and a DT gets in over here as well. Another storm. Oh my goodness, he's doing so much damage. Dude, Mini, is he doing it?
Yeah, not finding quite enough good storms in the main base, unfortunately, but is still doing a pretty good job with that DT storm drop continuation. Now trying to come up to his 4th base location as well to get something done there. This is kind of crazy. Really well played from Mini to make this game scrappy enough that maybe there's enough of chaos that has been produced that you can now create a ladder out of it and climb. There's no energy on that High Templar to do a storm up in this top right. You have to wait for energy, just about half a minute or so to get energy back online for that. Mini, though, is in still a bit of disarray. He needs to claw everything out of his bank that he can to keep enough army online to keep this base alive. It's already lost all of its shields. If he doesn't cover both of his flanks, Hero can come in and just snipe it for free. That's why he's going to have to invest army on this pizza slice at his rally point, as well as pushing horizontally towards the natural third of Hero to both attack and defend at the same time. He's still got 1 base of economy to work with in this game to stay online and alive, but it's still not a lot to work with. It's still troublesome for Mini to navigate this, but he's done a good job of stabilizing, at least. The longer this game goes on, it seems like he's got more and more chance. Even an Archon getting up to his base in the top right is a big clutch play, morphing those 2 High Templars without enough energy into an Archon out of that shuttle so they can come in for some splash damage, using that sonic shockwave to at least force an evacuation and have a chance at sniping that hatchery, which means he has to pull his Hydras back to deal with that Archon, and now he's out of position. There's a whole position lurker right now. There is no observer with this army. If he moves forward even a little bit further, saying he's in trouble.
Yes, he's going to pull the trigger on this in just a second. He's waiting for the absolute perfect moment. Here we go. Oh my gosh, this is so much damage. Getting a huge round of damage. There's 1 observer that's been made by Mini, by the way. 1 observer is available, pushing forward here against Reaver. It hurts. It feels bad, but he really wants to get over here and deny this base. He's got to utilize this momentum that he's put together because Mini is going over to top right. He's going to try and shut down that 4th. Big storm there in the middle of all these Hydras, and the Reaver shots actually come out. Lurker's not the greatest against the army that Mini's put together. Mostly Templar, mostly Reavers. What are all these Hydras doing? Oh my gosh.
I think
Has he forgotten about these Hydras?
He just noticed them now. The screen went over to that location. Yeah, we've had games like that in the past where you just forget about your army that's just chilling somewhere on the map. You're too distracted elsewhere. Luckily able to find those. But yeah, he's becoming mined out himself now, is Hero. The longer this game goes on, the better it gets for Mini. Sniping that hatchery in the top right is a huge deal. Now the Zerg's kind of on like 1.5 bases worth of economy himself. Tries to make a run for it to see if he can get this snipe on this Nexus. There's enough High Templars though at this mineral indication. Beautiful snipes in the Reavers though, saying he's in trouble still. I think that Hero is going to overwhelm this position and get a snipe on this mineral. What an insane game this is. Hero taking advantage of that army being out of position to knock out his 4th base and is going to get a snipe on this mineral only as a result of it. What a game we are having as our climactic finale in this first week of KCM.
Yeah, this is an incredible game from both players, guys. This is exactly what this series is all about, what this event is all about. Hero gets that all kill, and he's just moments away from closing this. Mini has no income at all, but Hero is also super, super low. If this base had stayed alive just a little bit longer, Mini absolutely could have clutched this out. As it stands, though, Hero is doubling the supply, and he's still got just a tiny trickle of minerals coming his way, so he's still able to produce just a few more Hydras to finish this guy off.
Yeah, I think Mini's killing his own cannon in frustration, maybe realizing that it was affecting his unit flow a little bit there and delaying his reinforcements from getting to critical locations. He's only got a few probes remaining, so he can't even long distance mine to afford a Nexus right now. He has to tap out. What a game from Hero. A double all kill from him, establishing his dominance. Just because I got eliminated from the ASL doesn't mean I can't destroy every single one of you guys in a row, says Hero, and gets the clapper as well. What a crazy climactic finish to a really impressive performance from my favorite player.
이런 변현재가 조금 좋은 맵에서 좀 여기에서 뭐 예를 들어 봐도 열렸다 이미.
All right, guys, taking a look at the point ranking. It's week 1, a fresh season of KCM. You'll love to see it. By the way, we did this live, guys, on Soup. If you guys want to join in, doing it at 7 p.m. on Friday. Pretty much every week. We'll probably do Soup live for a while, see how it goes.
Yeah.
We've been doing it the way we've been doing it for so long. It's a little bit hard to change, but we'll do our best. You can come in and join us in the chat. You can leave a donation if you want. You can enter that draw for the ASL jacket. You can just hang out and talk to us. We'll be checking the chat in between games and that sort of thing. But damn, what a performance from Hero this first week, man. Absolute god mode.
I mean, yeah, what a monster. I mean, after game number 1, I was expecting this to be a possibility. I feel pretty vindicated about that. Rightfully so. I mean, this guy kind of had a bit of unluckiness go down in the ASL, and I can't even imagine the frustration of being a player of his caliber and going out that early in the tournament. And, I mean, that's got to also feel even more fantastic for him, getting that revenge on Mini. I mean, Mini made him look a little bit silly with that Reverser against him in the ASL group stages, and now we see a bit of revenge for Hero to top that off. Beautiful icing of the cake here tonight, saying. And just once more, guys, we are now going to be streaming this live on Soup Live each week at SCTVEN. So go and follow us over there if you haven't yet already, and if you can, enter that raffle for that jacket. Throw us a sub, throw us 50 gems, enter the raffle, because there's no other way of getting this jacket. I mean, I can't even get this jacket. I'm kind of jealous of you guys, and I imagine there's a lot of people out there that are going to be envious as well. I can't even imagine what the scalp price is going to be on those things. There's so many people that want their hands on them, and they won't be able to get them. They're just so high demand and such little supply.
We're a very small group of fans of in the foreign audience for Broodwar, but still a highly coveted item for our niche group. I hope you guys will support that and support us. Enjoy these games. Enjoy the series that we're bringing to you guys. We're also live for the ASL that's coming up here on Monday. We're going to be doing that, what is it, the 12th? Monday the 12th for the round of 4.
Yeah.
Also going to be live on Soup. So the link is in the description, guys. Come check it out. This has been a lot of fun. It's great that we're back with the KCM. It was a little bit too long taking 2 weeks off, but I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, and sometimes we have 5 seasons a year if we have a shorter break in between seasons. Looks like only going to be having that 4 seasons this year if we are having slightly longer breaks. But please don't miss out. It's going to be streamed at the same time as ASL, like Sam was saying. Please come and join us here. It's great to see you guys in the chat and hang out with you while we cast these live. And we definitely prefer bringing you guys live content. That's probably going to be our bread and butter now after getting so much more experience from casting the ASL. I imagine we're going to try and do as many of these events live as we can.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for. We want to, support Soup and have them support us as well, bring us more great events. Guys, we're going to be signing off. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Mundane Dave says we need Flash in KCM. Have you guys seen the recent Hero versus Flash series?
I haven't, but I
have
imagine
not.
that is sick. Yeah. When was that
Sounds
played?
sick. Must have been on Artosis Cast channel, perhaps. I haven't seen that.
Well,
Was it on?
Go on.
It might have been Pro League.
Yeah,
Not
maybe.
sure.
Oh, SCSL a couple of weeks ago. Wait, is that the next season or is this current season?
That'll be next season. Wow, that's gonna be awesome.
Oh my days, that's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, don't spoil us for that at all, Mundane Dave.
Don't you dare say a word.
We're both we're co-casting the SCSL, but we're like a season behind.
Yeah.
Maybe almost 2 seasons behind now. So that is fantastic. Cannot wait for Flash in the SCSL. That's going to be really hype.
Oh yeah, I can't even wait until he's just back in the scene in general. Hopefully his wrists are going to be screwed on tight enough that he can, remain in the scene. If we get him in the next ASL, that's what I really want to see. I want to see him actually perform offline again. He's one of the best offline players of all time in any game ever, not just Starcraft, but as a gamer overall, just one of the most fiercest competitors. So it would be a real treat to see him back to his full capability.
Imagine being the surgeon who does the wrist surgery on Flash. You better be getting the best surgeon of all time to do that surgery. You know what I mean? You gotta have like the world championship wrist surgeon doing that surgery.
Yeah. He's basically going to end up being like the Wolverine, though. Maybe they need to give him some adamantium bones or something.
Well, they gotta give him some sort of. I was gonna say advantage. He definitely doesn't need an advantage, but some sort of upgrade to make sure that doesn't happen again. He's been gone for too long. We don't want to have that him leave the scene again once he's back.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a real problem, though. I mean, I don't even play that often, and I still get wrist issues. I can't even imagine what someone like Speed or someone like Flash has to deal with when they play as much as they do and as hard and fast as they do. It's crazy to think about.
No, true. Yeah, I can't imagine if I'm playing at 500-600 APM. Crazy. I mean, I don't think we see anyone at 600, but we see Speed at like 550 pretty consistently. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and they're whipping their hands around like mad as well. They just have no what's the word for it? They have like no fear in doing themselves injury when they're playing as well. It's all about just executing as best as they can, and they do sacrifice their health quite a lot in doing so.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to end the stream here. I got to go and quickly put this together and put it out on YouTube.
Sounds good.
As soon as possible. So send me that recording, Shun, and we'll throw that together and make sure that the YouTube quality is the best possible. I think it's still pretty good quality here with the Discord call, and the live aspect is fun as well.
Right. Oh, by the way, Spirit, that might not be a cheat. That might just be him like holding down the keys. Because if you hold down your hotkeys, it makes your APM go up to the thousands. So it could just be someone like constantly holding down their hotkeys, or it could be a little bit of lag as well. The laggier the game, the higher APM. I remember playing a 2v2. The game was so laggy, I had like 2000 APM. I wasn't playing at 2000 APM, but the game was just that laggy, right?
Yeah, every minute's like 6 minutes or 10 minutes, so yeah, is what it is. All right, guys. You have a nice night. Thanks for dropping by, Spirit, Rora, Mundane Dave. We'll be doing this more often. I'm sure we'll get more people in here to keep you company.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Till next time.